My name is Dr. OMANO Edigheji. I'm a scholar, policy practitioner, and an author. Human capital development is key to any nation development. Nigeria needs to prioritize human capital development. This will require funding. One means of funding human capital development is, for example, remove the oil subsidy and channel the funding to education, health, and skills development. With respect to the education sector, especially our university system, we need to have a complete rethinking as a country on how the education sector is funded. Government funding alone is not enough. There is a need for the university system and government to think of multiple funding streams for the university system. That is the global trend. So it is these parts that we ensure that we have universities that can be able to drive quality, excellence, and innovation. We need to build a nation. In doing so, we have to focus on our common humanity and citizenship rather than religious differences or state of origin. Every Nigerian should have equal right in any state where they live and pay taxes. Insecurity is a major crisis in Nigeria today. There are crises of banditry, terrorism, kidnapping, and all forms of criminality. The Nigeria that we envision should be able to overcome the crisis of insecurity. And we can do this, one, by ensuring that our security agencies are properly equipped with modern equipment. The second is we need to employ more people in the security agency. There is no developed country that does not have a robust aviation sector. So Nigeria needs to be able to have a robust aviation sector. World-class airports and airlines that are able to respond to the needs of Nigerians. And currently, what you have is basically airlines taking passengers for granted. We need to move beyond that, and that's a product, in my view, it's a product of poor regulation of the sector. So designing a new regulatory regime that conforms with world-class standard will be key, and that world-class standard will require that airlines will be held accountable when they do not treat their passenger well. For Nigeria to develop, it must industrialize. A number of things need to be done in this regard. This will include massive investment in economic infrastructure, roads, railway, seaport, electricity, etc., and addressing the insecurity challenges. These are bedrock. Economic infrastructure are bedrock of industrialization. To enter the public service in what we refer to as the developmental stage, including China, including India, you must take an entrance examination. To be able to be recruited, it requires a lot of preparation for that examination. So it is purely based on merit. You get the best and brightest. You have what they call esprit de corps. Your loyalty is not to a godfather, but to the common good of society. So I think we need to take internship and mentorship seriously as part of the leadership training in the public service. Nigeria needs to have an industrial policy where it identifies the sector it wants to target. Then you set measurable target and time frame on when particular goals needs to be achieved, and you sequence. Industrial policy by its very nature, or industrial development by its very nature, means sequencing. And over time, you will now have an industrial hub with various sectors that will make you to be able to produce goods that can be consumed locally and also be exported. And that will enable you to compete globally. Your relationship with God is personal. It should not be an issue in the public fair. How you worship God is between you and God. It should not be taken into consideration in appointment, in employment, in where people stay and where they don't stay. When you enter a vehicle, you don't ask whether the driver is a Muslim or a Christian. You just want a driver who is a good driver to drive you to your destination. That is what we need. So we need to overcome this primordial sentiment that are becoming so divisive. We need to place emphasis on our common humanity and common citizenship. You can't industrialize without having quality electricity. It is a necessary condition for any nation development. The law that the president signed will enable states to become major actors in electricity generation, transmission, and distribution. This is key. Now states have to take advantage of this law. They cannot compete among themselves to say, okay, state A can say we will be able to produce electricity to 90% of our population by so time. State B can say, okay, we'll try to compete with state A. It will have economic-wide positive impact. And I think state government should take advantage of this law to attract investment to the sector in their respective states. Today, Mr. A or Mrs. A is in one particular party. The next second, he or she jumps into another political party. They are not guided by any ideology. So we need parties with clear-cut ideology, and Nigerians should be able to vote and identify with a party to say, because of this ideology, I am supporting this political party. By the time we begin to have ideologically rooted parties, we'll be able to have free and fair election. But two critical points, in my view, we enable the international community to really take Nigeria seriously. The first one is we having economic power. Nigeria becoming an economic powerhouse. Then the world will pay attention to Nigeria. The second is having a society that is based on the rule of law. Once we are able to have this, then obviously Nigeria is going to be taken more seriously by the international community.